Ben Real Estate and Mortgage Hour. We talk all things real estate. If you're thinking about getting a home loan or refinancing, we'd love to talk to you about that. And we talk anything that has to do with the community, anything local. We even get into politics every once in a while, don't we, Ben?
We do. Thanks so much for joining us today.
It's a beautiful day.
It is. It's hot, and it's perfect for Hot News Talk Radio at 12:40 a.m.
Amen. And we've got people standing by. So throughout the show, if you want to talk to anybody about real estate, call Sabrena Realty Associates. They are waiting to hear from you. They can be reached at 423.
And they're ready right now, right?
That's right now.
Right this second.
Right this second.
Call them right now.
423-499-7780. That's 423-499-7780. Visit our website, SabrenaRealty.com. And how can they get in touch with your people, Ben?
If you want to talk mortgage loans or you want to talk all around it, you just give us a call at 423-805-9100, or you can go to homeratemortgage.com and get a quick quote.
Things are really busy right now. It's really happening. Have you guys been covered up like we have?
It's the every month we have more in the pipeline and we have more closings than the previous month. So 2016 is going to be our banner year ever. So.
Well, I tell you what I'm finding. It's so competitive for a buyer out there because the inventory's down, and we can talk about this later on in the show, but because the inventory's down, I'm telling you, if you find that right property, you better act on it because things are really selling fast. For me, I've worked with a number of buyers here recently, and we've ended up where we make an offer, and guess what? There's 2 or 3 offers in on that same property. So then we're in a bidding war.
Right, and that bidding war is not something you want to get into because the emotions are high, and there's really not a lot of room to give with the inventory being low. And I'll throw out a little factoid right now. Last year, there was about 4,300 homes for sale right now in the Chattanooga MLS. And this year, at this very moment, there's 500 less homes for sale. So that's 500 homes that are not available for sale.
Well, we were in an 8-month inventory, and now we're down to probably a 3-month inventory.
Well, and then here's even something that even furthers that concern. A bigger chunk of these homes are homes that no one's buying. They're $500,000 and up.
Oh yeah.
So there's over 500 homes for sale, over 500K or up, and that's startling because those homes aren't going to be bought by the average buyer.
Well, the median sales price is about $155,000 right now.
That's right.
So as you go up in price, you do have a slimmer market of buyers that can even afford the home.
And if we think it's going to get better, there's no indication that it's going to get better anytime soon, right?
That's true.
So if you want
it, it's good though. I mean, it's good.
It's
low.
Good.
It's just competitive.
It is. It's competitive. I guess we can't say that enough.
Exactly.
And speaking of competitive, I think we have some folks here today. They're gonna be involved in a pretty big competition coming up, right?
Well, let's see. I think they're here to talk about an event. We are so blessed to have with us 2 of my good friends, Ben. Carol Groan. Carol Groan is a retired real estate agent. She's had her own company, I think, in Colorado, didn't you?
And she's married to Larry Groan, right?
She is the city councilman for East Brainerd, Larry Groan, who's a very dear friend. They're both very dear friends of mine. She's his wife. She's very active in the Republican Party. She is always trying to encourage people to join, always telling them what the platform of the Republican Party is. And she knows that we're at a very serious time in our nation, and so she's working hard, and I appreciate her for that because she's right. So she's going to tell us about an upcoming event. We also have Dalton Temple. Dalton is one of the younger Republicans. He's working on a lot of political campaigns now and learning a lot, and he's a really good guy, and he's a hard worker too. So we're honored to have Dalton with us.
What's this shirt say that's on Dalton?
This Chattanooga Wrestling.
Is that Chattanooga Wrestling? What's that all about?
He looks like he could wrestle, don't he? I don't think I messed with him.
He kind of looks, he's kind of a big guy.
A lifelong ago, past times. It was fun though. UTC Wrestling, you guys support local. You got to support your local sports. I've gotten 4 phone calls now that I've been trying to text back to. But yeah, Chattanooga Wrestling under Heath Esslinger. Go Mocs.
I know Heath Esslinger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Was he a good coach?
He's a great coach.
Okay.
He's a great coach.
Well, he's from my stomping ground, so.
So tell me, Dalton, do you go to all the wrestling matches at UTC? Are you still an avid supporter of the school? Or
I try to make every match that I can, and I love the matches. Just about a month ago, I was at the reception for the team. That was my 3rd year in a row. I didn't hit all the matches, but at least a 50% rating, I'm there. You gotta support those boys. Special sport, special type of talent, special skill.
Well, you had to be pretty good to wrestle for UTC. So yeah. Go Mox. You do know that
Go
my
Mox.
baby's in his 3rd year of engineering there right now. He's
Okay.
doing good. They have a great engineering program there. So, all right, Carol, tell us about this upcoming event. And this is you're opening this up today. They don't have to be a member of the local Pachyderm Club or the Republican Women. We, as a matter of fact, we're taking new membership applications all the time, right? All they have to do is join.
We are. And this organization is Pachyderm, and actually we have 2 Pachyderm organizations within Hamilton County. And the one that I am mostly affiliated with is the Hamilton County Pachyderm Club. And there is also a Nightside organization to give opportunities for people who work during the day and who can't make a Pachyderm meeting during the noon hour, which is when we traditionally meet. They have their own program and their own setup and whatnot. But we, yes, are having our own event. It's a large event. It's the first one that we've ever put together. So it's going to be very fun. It's going to be on June 25th.
Okay, so that's right around the corner.
That's after Riverbend, isn't it, Sabrina?
It is.
Oh yeah.
It is after Riverbend, and it is between 1 and 5 p.m. So it's the good hours. It's going to be at Liberty Ridge Ranch, which actually is in Bradley County.
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
Just over the border of Hamilton County. And we're inviting the GOPs of the surrounding counties. So it's okay that it's not in Hamilton County.
All right. What's all this about, though? What is it about?
We are getting together a bunch of people so that we can discuss and we have Republican values that we are bringing forth on stage, and we have great food. It's going to be catered food, barbecue, and we're having also a band. It's a
is it a bluegrass?
Is it
bluegrass
and gospel band.
Okay,
Called
yeah.
Right Path.
Now, is this a fundraiser?
It is a fundraiser for our candidates.
Okay.
And that's really what we need to be doing. Is
Absolutely.
promoting our Republican candidates and helping them out where need be, especially if they're new candidates.
Right.
And they need promotion or they need maybe some funding. We're trying. This is a new program that we're doing, and so you're just going to be so excited when you go there. It's going to be at a ranch, but this is a very special ranch. It's Liberty Ridge Ranch, but it has a fabulous event center on it, and it's so you're not going to go and be in the hot sun.
Oh,
You'll
okay.
be in air-conditioned environment. It's
Good. Good. I'm a wimp. I'm a city girl.
Me too.
I can't rough it.
7,000 square feet, and it has internal bathrooms even.
Wow.
Well, I'm curious. Before you get too much more into the event, you said that it's going to be a fundraiser and that the funds are going to be distributed to candidates, and I assume that's candidates that are up and coming and running this year. Tell us who they are.
The board will be making decisions.
Oh, okay.
About how the funds are going to be used. It's not like I'm going to be doing this all by myself.
And I'm sure it's just that they have to be a true blue Republican. Yeah, someone that's very true to the party.
True red,
true blue and red and white.
And I would like true blue, red, white, and blue.
That's right.
That's right.
So who are some of the candidates that are running though for the Republican Party? Dalton, yeah, because he's working in some of the campaigns. Maybe he can tell us about some of the races that are coming up.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. We have Todd Gottenheier up, who's not going to have a problem until November. He's running unopposed in the primary. State senator.
But he does have opposition. There's a Democrat running against him, and as a matter of fact, I know that there's been a push for this Democrat. So I know that. But Todd Gottenheier, I can tell you this, okay, just from my firsthand experience, he's worked hard. He's very engaged. I know that anytime I've ever called him on any issue, he's very responsive. He gets back to me. Just recently, he was willing to come and sit down with the principals of District 7 and sit down and address some needs and concerns they had about things going on in the school that can be controlled at a state level. And since he's over the education committee, committee, he was very knowledgeable. So, I don't know his opponent, but I know he has a Democratic opponent. Since I'm a Republican, it's obvious I'm leaning towards Todd Gardenhire. So Todd Gardenhire is a candidate.
He won't need our help through the August 4th election, but come into November, we're going to have to get on his back. We're going to have to knock doors hard, make the phone calls, and tell everybody in his district. I mean, we're going to have to get the vote out for that November election.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll have a problem getting the vote out in November, but we are going to have to make sure people know who to vote for in November.
Okay. And who else is running now?
On the state level, big race is Representative Mike Carter.
Oh, yeah.
District 29 has a challenger, city councilman out of Collegedale, commission out of Collegedale, a young junior commissioner out of the city. And
he was just elected, wasn't he?
He was
recently.
Year and a half, 2 years ago, I think it was. Young to the city and new to his voters and stepping up to challenge Mike Carter.
Well, and I'm sorry, Mike Carter is my hero. Okay, and I'll just say that publicly today because I'll tell you, he has been a true representative for the people. That is so rare today because it seems like we believe these people when they run and they tell us their platform, and we put a lot of faith in them when we go to the polls and we vote for them. And so many times, more often than not, we're let down, or they disappoint us, or it seems like they become part of the good old boys system. And Mike Carter is just a true representative for the people. And I have to speak up and say that because I can tell you back in 2009, 2010, back in our area, back when then the city mayor was trying to annex all the unincorporated, greatly against the people's will. There was a grassroots effort of the citizens. We actually raised money and hired an attorney and sued the city and were able to stop them. Many of those areas. And Mike Carter came in as a newly elected state representative. And let me tell you, this annexation issue I was so passionate about this issue that I went to Nashville several times with the realtors, just fighting for property rights. To me, it's almost a form of communism when you do something against the people's will, and especially taking their property. So
he stepped up for the local folks.
Up, and I want you to know, when I went to Nashville, it was so funny. I talked to a lot of representatives. I said, look, please support Mike Carter in his efforts on this annexation. And it was so funny. I'll never forget this. Many of them said, oh, he's a rookie. We're going to appease him. We're going to entertain him. We're going to appease him. We're going to let him get it off the floor, but it's not going to pass. It's going to be put to a study. Taster's going to do a study, which they did. It was a year or two study, but Mike Carter did not give up. He told me, he said, they're going to pass this legislation, and he was kidding, but he said, or I'm going to burn this place down. He meant it.
It was very important to put that disclaimer in there as well.
But yeah, exactly. It was just a figure of speech. And if you know Mike Carter, he's got that kind of sense of humor. He is very quick-witted. And but I'll tell you, he was able to do something that has not been done in over 20 years because of the city lobbyists and the municipal leagues and all the money. And he was, I mean, that's phenomenal. How can you not support someone who represents the people in such a way? And I mean, that's exactly what he's done. He's done a lot more than just the annexation legislation. Oh, he's done a lot.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. In the real estate market, is a house more valuable if it's not burdened by city taxes, or is it? Does the city bring value to your home, or does the freedom of where your home is bring value?
Well, the freedom is the key, and people having a choice. There are people who want to live in the city limits. They want city police protection, city fire protection. They want sewer as opposed to septic. Exactly. They want to live closer in, and they just like some of the amenities that the city offers, including sewers and stuff. However, there are those people that want to live out. They don't want to be bothered. They're fine paying their volunteer fire department, and they're fine paying for their trash pickup, and they feel very protected by the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department. So I'm all for people having a choice.
I could not agree more. And that is what this election is going to come down to. And Mike Carter, speaking of Mike Carter, that his race has come up, he's going to be at the Pachyderm Roundup.
Okay, good.
He's going to be there. He's going to speak a little. He's going to be there to shake hands. I mean, and that's what this is really about, the Pachyderm Roundup and these races. It's getting the candidates in front of the people, getting the people in front of the candidates. So bridging that gap.
So just in case someone just started listening, this is June 25th at 1 to 5 p.m. at Blue Springs Road, which is the Liberty Ridge Ranch. That's 6019 Blue Ridge Road. Blue Springs Road. Of course, everybody knows about Blue Springs Elementary. Had some tornado damage a few years back, right?
Yeah.
Blue Springs Road. So you know where that is, in Cleveland, Tennessee, and just over the ridge. And we're going to have some very important folks there. We're going to have Mike Carter. We got to support him.
Todd Gardenhire.
Todd Gardenhire, and
probably Representative Fleischman is coming. We're trying to work out his schedule. And there's
Congressman Fleischman.
Congressman
he wouldn't miss something like this.
Possibility that we'll have Senator Corker as just walking in.
And we'll also have House Majority Leader Gerald McCormick, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he's going to be one of the main speakers.
Wow.
We have 2 10-minute speakers. The other speaker is ERMC's owner, Emerson Russell, who is he won
He's
this
a big
year's
developer.
chamber event. He's speaking security
and development.
and,
He's very active in the party too.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, what a great opportunity for you to mingle with some high-end Republicans that are getting things done for folks, and wow, just a chance to really build on the foundation of what the principles are of the Republican Party.
Exactly.
And what else?
They're going to be speaking about that, but I think Dalton is going to talk about the gun range.
Are there any other candidates that you want to mention before you get into that? I know there's some school board races.
There's school board races. I mean, and to start off, to say the entire Hamilton County delegation that we send to the National State House, they
will be
great.
on the ballot.
I mean, Mark Gravitt, Patsy Hazelwood.
Yes.
I'll even throw in Joanne Favors for that. I mean, they all work together better than any other county delegation. They work for the people that they represent. We are very lucky to be living in Hamilton County.
And Mark Gravitt does have some opposition as well. And Mark Gravitt is he's a newly elected state representative that I'm telling you, anytime I call him, he calls me back. He gets engaged. He's done a lot for his district as well. And he deserves a lot of praise for what he's done too. So you're right, Dalton. We have a great delegation. We're very fortunate in our area. Very much.
And all of these people will get up and probably have a stump speech opportunity. We're having 2-minute stump speeches.
Awesome.
And 2-minute debates.
Oh, wow.
So it'll be very fast and fun.
Oh, wow.
I want to represent Trump.
Hopefully there'll be a lot of opportunity for some squabbling, but humor. We're asking for
we're going to have
humor
fun.
as well.
We're going to have fun.
That's right.
Well, speaking of fun, I mean, there's a lot of activities that are going to be there. For all of you politicos out there who might want to do something other than shake hands with the representatives and get to know your legislature, there's going to be rifle shooting. There's going to be skeet shooting with 2 12-gauge shotguns. And there's going to be fly fishing. And there's going to be archery.
So I need to practice that my shot.
And there's going to be cornhole for everybody else.
hey, I can win at some cornhole. Hey, so obviously there's got to be limited, registrations. So do you all know how we get registered for this early so that we don't have to be, missing out on this great opportunity?
Is there a website to go to?
The website is looking to be launched in the next 5 days.
Okay.
Pachyderm just
y'all need to get on it. Y'all need to get on it right now.
You got that.
And we don't have anything important going on or anything.
You can come into the club on Mondays and buy tickets. We meet at the International Towing Museum. And Eventbrite is also up, and you can buy tickets on eventbrite.com. Pachyderm Roundup.
Awesome. It's $25 per adult, right?
$25 per adult to get in. That is your meal. That is the entire day's activity. But that is not
trout fishing.
That includes shooting. That includes fly fishing. That includes cornhole. It includes all the activities other than the shooting range.
Do we get to dunk Fleischman in like one of those contests where you throw the ball at the thing and he falls in water?
We were working on that for about 3 weeks.
I'll pay. I want Fleischman to get a new pair of shoes. I've been urging him to get a new pair of shoes. Every time I'm running at the YMCA, he's sitting there running next to me, and I'm like,
is he out running?
Do they not pay enough? Is there no money involved in politics? I mean, let's raise some money. Let's raise some special money for a new pair of shoes. I think we can raise $100. What do you think?
I think we can too.
Let's raise $100. I got 25 on it.
But hey, we've got a really good special thing to tell you about. Bob McCamey, who owns about 11 different car dealers.
Yeah. Yep.
He is donating us a car.
Woohoo!
And Mark Gravitt, who is a professional auctioneer, he's licensed
Wow.
auctioneer. is
State
going to-
Representative Gravitt.
That's right.
Mhm.
Is going to auction the car. So you have to come and see what the car looks like and do your little
Hey,
homework on.
Now
your
I understand why the website's not up yet. They've been planning this. They've been
Hey.
planning this
And
extravaganza.
he's a full-fledged auctioneer. If you've never heard him, I mean,
He's
he's got it
amazing.
down. He is really, really good.
I get those invites to his house. I hear his house is pretty nice
Well,
too.
I know Carol's worked very hard on this, and I know, and I appreciate Dalton for helping her as well. Because I'll tell you,
We have a
it's
whole committee.
a great and exciting time to be a Republican, and we are so blessed here in Tennessee, locally and at a state level too, that we have great representatives. We have true conservatives, and we do, for the most part, I believe everybody is serving for the right reason, and they're serving the people.
We have
Absolutely.
elected
local
them.
delegations who work together and have meetings for the public. It's fabulous.
It's exactly right.
You know, you got husbands out there, fathers. You got, you want your children to get involved in the future. It's time to take your family out to an event like this. You get to shake hands with some of the most important people that are making the decisions that are going to affect your children's life.
Exactly.
And it's time to get engaged and communicate. You know, they say relationships is what makes a difference for anything, whether it's business, whether it's a marriage, so also in politics.
Mhm.
So this is an opportunity for the community to go over that bridge and really connect to your
Mhm.
politician. And it's going to be a fundraiser to support those
it's going to be a
politicians.
fun fundraiser.
What an awesome opportunity. I'm so excited. Hey,
Now, you don't have the guns there, or do people bring their own gun? Or
The guns will be there. The guns will be supplied. Any parents or anybody out there worried about guns, there will be no pistols. There will be shotguns that are set up on stands. They
Okay.
will not be able to swing outside the range other than to skeet shoot. It will still have the real feel. You'll still learn the shot, but they will be set in a designated place.
I fear no evil.
Same as the rifle, you're going to have a target. We'll probably set up around 100-yard and 250-yard shots. Test your aim, see who's the best out there with the long shot.
Wow.
And you're going to get an X amount of number of shots on the skeet. You're going to get an X amount of number on shots on the rifle.
Okay.
so this is $25 per adult, $15 for a kid. Right?
Hold on a second. My son's 6 years. He's about to be 6 years old. Do we charge for him too?
No,
You're
free.
not gonna pay a thing
Also-
for him.
Okay. So what? How does that work?
But only gets them in for admission, though. And the parent can come with the child.
So if I come with my son, he can come in for free?
Yes, and and also it's always $25, no, regardless of the age, to have access into the gun range.
Okay. So
That's a separate thing. You can't.
Right.
You have to come and have an admission ticket before you can get into.
it sounds like something we just need to come check out. Hey, listen, we'll be back here in a few minutes. This is the Sabrina and Ben Real Estate Hour, and we're so thankful to have our guests, Carol and Dalton.
Thank y'all for being here today.
What a
Thank
wonderful
y'all for
event
having
you got
us.
coming up.
And thank you for working so hard for the local Republican Party. It means a lot that you guys are working so hard. Join us back here right after the break on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. It's the Sabrina and Ben Hour. We'll be right back, and we're going to open up the phone line. Right, Ben?
We're going to open it up, so go ahead and prepare your call right now.
Welcome back to the Sabrina and Ben Real Estate and Mortgage Hour, where we talk all things real estate, all things mortgages. We're going to open up the phone lines, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Is it really the real estate hour? Because it feels like it's like 5 minutes. You know?
Well, that was a lot of information, our last guest. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, they're working hard. They're working hard for the local party. And we know how important politics is. You know, nobody wants to make anybody mad, but it does matter who leads, and it affects our industry.
It really does. And that was actually what I was just thinking about, because at the end of the day, it's all about homes and real estate on the show. But what affects it more than legislation?
It does.
I know better than anybody, because in my industry, on the mortgage side, we have new forms pop up every day that we have to disclose that we've never seen in our life. And it's still based on this 2008 law that's still getting more and more rules and regulations passed within that law, just kind of corrections.
Yeah. And, you know, we always listen and observe the candidates and kind of do my due diligence and check them out. And I'm always looking for that.
That might be important.
I'm always looking for that conservative candidate, that common sense candidate that, you know, is going to be able to work with others and negotiate,
Right.
and going to be looking out for property rights and all those important things. So I'm all for that, all about that. And that's why it's so important who does govern, whether it's on a local level, a state level, or a national level. And I think it's an exciting time, really, to be involved in politics. It's been interesting. I mean, let's just talk
It's just
about
cool
the
to meet these
presidential.
politicians. It's cool to like break through that glass of what folks see. I mean, because you know how when you see a politician, you're like, you know, it's just like, okay, I'm gonna go shake your hand, or hopefully, and
Right.
but then when you are around them a few times, you begin to get to know them and find out, you know, who their wives or husbands are, and who, their children. You see their children, and you start seeing how they interact with their kids and the community, and you start learning who they really are.
Well, and
you know,
that's right, Ben. And I'll tell you something, there's so much more to it than you can ever even fathom as a citizen living out there. And I can say that now that I'm in office myself, there's so much work that goes on behind the scene. The media doesn't report it. They can't report it. There's so much that goes on that people never even know. And there's a lot of time put in and spent on decision making and things. I mean, locally, we're so fortunate. We've got great businesses coming here. We've got jobs. We've been able to live off growth since 2007. There's not been a tax increase, and that's because of all the jobs, all the new businesses that have came in, and all the new homes that are being built and sold, all that tax revenue. We're able to live off that, and we've been able to avoid a tax increase. And I think that that's kind of what's going to happen this year, too. We're very fortunate.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of folks realize what kind of sacrifice politicians even go through. And I didn't know. I didn't realize it. But then, you know, I've known you for a long time now, and I watched how, you know, running the race was one thing, but then once you were in office, you know, just being at your office or being out and watching you get a phone call about this all of a sudden thing that's like a big monkey wrench in success.
Exactly.
And you've got to solve it right then. Now you're in the middle of your daily activities, trying to run a business, trying to run a community. And now you've got this monkey wrench that just jumped in there.
Oh yeah.
It's a sacrificing situation to even
you've got to
be in
love
office.
it. You've got to love it. You've got to
love your land, your hometown. You've got to really, really love it. And that's why I think we're very blessed to have you as a commissioner in District 7.
Well, thank you. You know, there's a lot of growth going on in our area, the East Brainerd, Appleton, Edward, Collegedale area. There's a lot of growth. There's a lot of new construction going on. We finally got a lot of road projects underway. So we've got some great infrastructure.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. But you don't appreciate it until it's done, right?
Yeah, that's right. But, you know, I can go across, especially selling real estate. I can go into any community, like we're in the Hickson community right now.
Right.
I can go in Hickson and Saudi Daisy and Eastridge and all these other areas, and there's not one district that I can go to that I can't pull out something exciting or amazing happening.
Right.
And it's going on across Hamilton County.
It really is.
I had to give kudos to our mayor and his staff because they do a really good job. I know that they're always working behind the scenes too, and always trying to make this a community in which businesses want to come in, they want to locate. That's why there's such an emphasis right now too being put on education. It's so important that we have the workforce to meet the demand of all the jobs that are coming our way, because there are so many great things. And
that education is going to impact the future homeowners of America right here in this town.
It certainly is.
And last week, let's talk about last week. We had a special guest on, Joe Wingate, running for school board. And it was neat to see what a school board member actually does. From just a layman's eyes, you just sort of say, okay, this school board guy goes to this thing and he gets all this attention and all this. Man, he gets a bunch of sacrifice and trying to holding the superintendent and the teachers and just the curriculum, all of it accountable to the taxpayer,
Absolutely.
to the children, to their future. Their future relies on the decisions of the school members. So the school board members.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you guys for filling in for me last week, because actually, as you know, I was down in meetings. We were going through the county budget. Right. Very important. We're getting into the budget season. We've had to hear, the education budget and what they're asking for, and what the sheriff's office and all the constitutional offices, and ways to meet all these needs with the revenue we have. And so that's where I was at. And I appreciate you all for filling in for me. You and Mark and Joe Wingate, you guys did an outstanding job. And I actually went back and watched the video, which you know that thing has gotten 3,000 views now.
You're crazy. There's no way.
We need to bring Joe Wingate back.
I don't believe it. I want you to show me later, because I did not believe that whatsoever.
Yeah, there's been 3,000 views, but I watched it, and I want to just point out something that really struck me from that interview, because you and Mark did a really good job. When you asked him kind of why he was running and everything, and he said he thought it was very important that the school board get back to doing what they were elected to do. And that is accountability. That was one thing he said right off the bat. There's transparency and all those important things, but accountability, he said anymore, it appears, and I'm not quoting him word for word, but this is what he was saying in essence, is that anymore it seems like there's a good old boy system. And that's why the public is really outraged right now, because when they elect us, and I say us, me also, they want us to stay focused on what's best for them, or with education, their children. They want us to stay focused on having a strong public education. And if that means holding the superintendent accountable, holding teachers or principals accountable, holding the student accountable, that's what we have to do. And that's what we're tasked to do once elected. And I thought that was unique that he pointed that out and actually took ownership of it. Yeah, because he's right.
We got to stop moving towards this laissez-faire type of attitude. The buck stops with the decisions we make. If you make a decision, you're going to be held accountable for the decision. This is what made America great once upon a time. Folks, we got a caller, and we are excited to take it.
I'm glad. Yeah, we're taking calls today.
All right, hold on one second. All right, caller, go ahead.
It's interesting you're talking about the government schools. I'll tell you what, 40 years ago, I said they were eventually going to go away. I don't see them lasting much longer. They're not keeping up with technology. My 10-year-old is having trouble in arithmetic or mathematics, and is trying to figure it out. And I said, you guys have over 100 years of government doing this, and you can't figure this out? Mm-hmm. Obviously, socialism fails, and it's not going to work in the government schools. And I think there needs to be another model. Why not, after stealing people's tax dollars through property taxes, allow companies to come in and bid and have 20 different private schools, and then have the parent go to that individual and say, why do you want my child to come to your school? Prove to me that you're worthy of my child going to your school. And for every child that goes to that individual school that's competing, they receive so much money. Sort of like the voucher system, but not quite. So we have a free enterprise system, equivalent to when you're bidding on who's going to collect the trash or build roads. Mm-hmm. But having a government system with unionized teachers, it's a failed system. It doesn't work. And it's failing miserably.
Right.
It's either going to collapse of its own weight, or it's going to have to be fixed.
Well, there's so many. We don't have enough time left to even address all the problems, but just to kind of touch on some of them. Right now, I mean, statistics show that 60% of the students are on free and reduced lunch, and half these kids are going home hungry. Sometimes the only hot meal they get at school. And so you're dealing with a poverty issue as well. And it's hard to see, how do you deal with all this? What are all the answers? And it's
I don't
difficult.
think it's that hard. It all goes back to free enterprise.
So what are you suggesting? Okay, so we get the property tax revenue coming in. So what do you suggest we do with that money? That goes as a voucher, right?
Well, not necessarily a voucher, but now after the government has stolen all that money from our property taxes, they keep that in a pot. And I decide I'm starting a school. My school is going to specialize in mathematics or the arts or whatever.
Right.
I am now trying to do the best I can to make sure my students are getting great grades, because I want to attract you, the parent, so I can receive money every year for that. So now we have a competitive system. For children in the inner cities, there could be a school for that. But, if schools have now become babysitters because of Johnson's Great Society, and the inner city children don't have dads there and a family to feed them, then that's one issue. Then let's deal with that issue, but let's not call it schooling. Let's create another system to fix that. But the government schooling system countrywide, nationwide, is failing.
Well, I agree with that. I agree with that. And when you've got 64%, 63% of third and fourth graders are not even reading on grade level, and these kids never get caught up. They continually fall behind, and it just compounds every year. They never get caught up. And, a lot of it goes back to early childhood development. I mean, we could get into all the things that are causing it to be the way it is. And some of it too, I mean, our caller is blaming a lot of it on government. And I'm sure that there is a lot of blame you could put back to government, but, the breakdown of the family.
No, I'm not blaming. Actually, I'm not blaming government. These teachers work very hard.
Yeah.
It's a systemic cancer that everyone's responsible for. Parents think they can just drop their kids off, and then when they bring them home, they're no longer educated. Education goes on 24 hours a day. Parents use these schools as
That's true.
That's a great point.
Well, that's
so
true.
everyone's equally responsible.
Well, that's true. And, I think that there is too much responsibility put on the teachers, because the teachers, if all they were tasked with is teaching, I think they could be much more effective in the classroom. It's just they are having to raise them. They're having to, be a parent as well as the teacher. And I'm telling you, I sit down with my principals.
I'll make one more statement, and I'm going to hang up and listen to you on the radio. But I believe it's partially because Washington, D.C. has an agenda. They're trying to liberalize our kids.
Yeah.
They're trying to get them used to. My daughter had a question, and she goes to virtual school, which is a public school, but through computer, about the virtues of socialism. And I went off on her civics teacher. I'm like, this is everything I've taught her that is wrong, and you're promoting socialism. So there's an agenda. The Department of Education needs to be abolished, and education needs to be local, and this socialist agenda needs to be done away with. And I'll listen to your answer on the air. You guys are great.
You need to watch two movies. You need to watch Agenda 1 and Agenda 2. It talks about exactly what he is saying about, and how do you get in? You get in the minds of the young people through education. What better way to get those minds and through education?
That's an opportunity. The definition of education is to give proper moral, physical, and intellectual instruction. It's different from schooling. Mm-hmm. And I pointed out to teachers, you're not allowed to educate. You're schooling. You could school someone on how to be an assassin. Education, the government schools aren't allowed to be engaged in because there are morals. And once you teach morals, they say, oh, that's religion.
Right.
So we've gone from 1964 is where students have stopped being educated and started to be schooled. The example I give is, if a teacher were to stand in front of a room and say, there are 4 bicycles here, all 4 are my bikes. Johnny, what would be the problem with you taking one of my bikes? If that teacher were to say that stealing is wrong, she would be in violation of the law.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's morality. Stealing is morality. Now, you can point out that, oh, well, there's a law against it, but still it's based on morals.
Well, in morals, I mean, you can see the morals of this country on the decline now. And personally, and I don't try to inflict my beliefs on anyone else. God created us, and I do believe God created us all equally, and we all were created with a free will, and we have a right to choose. But what I see going on, a lot of it in a lot of aspects of education or life in general, is when you take God out. And when you take God out, this is what you're left to deal with. There's a lot of things that we read about, we hear about in the news today that we used to not hear about years ago. But we used to be able to pray. And we used to...
It's impossible to educate without God being involved. Now you're schooling.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the system will fail. By the way, that's one of the planks of the Communist Manifesto, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
So-called free education for all children in public schools. Marx believed in it. Hitler believes in it. Mao believes in it. All the tyrants wanted to get these children at a very young age, put them in their institutions, and propagandize them. And this has to stop in this republic, or we won't have it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your call, caller.
Great. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
That was a smart caller. He touched on a lot that we definitely can't get into with four and a half minutes left in the show.
Yeah, I know, but it all does affect. I mean, everything is affecting the homes and real estate, the future value. So here's the bottom line. He wants to make schooling like a business, and it seems like just like
Well, it is a big business. It's about a was a $405 million business. Now it's going up to $430 million.
Okay, but when do these things have a major shift or change? When do these things? Well, it's when something traumatic happens, and there's going to be a disagreement about whether it's traumatic.
Well, let me say, and you make a great point, Ben. Right now, there is a prime opportunity regarding public education here in Hamilton County because the public is extremely engaged. With the Chattanooga 2.0 initiative, whether you agree with anything or not, what I look at are the facts and the statistics and the data that study has provided in terms of, like I just said a few minutes ago, 63 to 64% of third and fourth graders are not reading on grade level. When you look at these statistics and you see where we're heading and you see what the ACT scores are on the college readiness test, I mean,
they're going down.
It's obviously that there's a lot of room for improvement. You know, I don't throw the teachers under the bus at all. Let me tell you that the teachers in my district, I sit and meet with the principals on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, I coordinate meetings with state representatives so they can all sit down together at a table, talk openly and candid, and kind of better understand both perspectives, what the legislatures are facing on the state level and what the principals are dealing with every day, day in and day out of the schools. And I will tell you that it's unbelievable what these principals and teachers are having to do and deal with. And I commend them. And I don't know if you saw this article that was in the newspaper several months ago. It showed that now teachers get in the profession, which I think is a special calling, just like being a nurse, a doctor, or anything. It's a special calling to be a teacher. I don't think everyone can be a good teacher. I think it is a special calling. And when you see that they get in the career of teaching and they are looking for a new career within 5 years, they're getting out of the teaching. I mean, that has to tell you how much stress they're under.
It's too much.
And we need to appreciate them. We need to support them. We need to lift them up. We need to pray for them.
That's it.
Because they really are trying to not only teach, but they're having to wear the hat of many other roles as well, including parenting and other things. But
I'm glad we can say that on the show.
Yeah.
To pray.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
we need to encourage.
We say it. And here's the thing. Like I said, I don't force my beliefs on anyone because I believe God doesn't force anything on us. He created us with a free will.
Well, you can turn off the show if you don't want to listen to it.
Yeah.
You know?
And if you come in my office, if you come and sit down in my personal office, I've got the 10 Commandments up. I've got a cross. I've got Bible scripture. That is my freedom. That's my office. That's my freedom. I won't force it on anyone. I'll respect everybody, and I respect all of our uniquenesses, and that God did create us all with a free will, and we all have a right to choose what we believe. But anymore, I feel like we have to stand for what we believe in. That is where we are at in this nation, and we are losing America, who I love very, very, very much, and I'm hoping someone can make it great again.
Ooh, I think I heard a tagline right there. Yeah, it took me a long time to convince everybody that Trump was the man. But,
I saw you back in Trump Towers way back doing the selfie with Trump.
That's right. I paid a couple $2 to get in.
That's awesome.
It was a Starbucks coffee, actually.
That's cool.
You know, folks, listen, you're listening to the Sabrina and Ben Real Estate Hour. And what a great hour it is every week. We've had, we had Joe Wingate on last week. We had Weston Wamp a couple weeks prior to that. We had Dalton, a leader of the Republican Party, and obviously Carol Groen, wife of Larry Groen, big politician here in the area. And these are all folks that are fighting for our local rights in our community. We're so thankful to have these folks on. It's a chance for you to engage them and make a difference. You know, we couldn't be on this without you. We couldn't be here. So make sure you tell everybody to tune in to 1240 a.m. That's Hot News Talk Radio, 1240 a.m. And we want to hear from you.
Call us, 423-499-7780. You can reach Sabrena Realty. That's 499-7780. And Ben, how can they?
You know what?
59100.
Don't even call me. Our phones are ringing off the hook right now, so you probably can't even reach us. But if that's not a point for you to make that call, I don't know what is. It's a great time. Real interest rates are at their lowest they've been. And hey, we're out of time. And we're out of time. I will see you next week. Sabrina?
Yeah, join us for the next few weeks. We got some great guests coming up in the next few
Tuesday,
weeks.
11 to 12.